Bonne chance aux deux équipes et bon match. Best of luck to both teams. Have a great game.
At Softball City in the 2024 Canada Cup Softball Tournament, the Women's International Division, Friday means one thing: the start of the 8-team playoff, as we'll move a little closer on this Friday with 4 playoff games to decide a 2024 Canada Cup champion. And on another splendid day for softball, 22 degrees, barely a cloud in the sky, we will open our playoff schedule with a pair of teams who finished number 3 and 4, respectively, in pool play in what began as a 12-team tournament in search of the Canada Cup crown. It is number 3 finishing team in their pool, Czechia, taking on the 4th place finisher in the pool that featured Team Canada and Team Mexico. It is the Philippines. So Czechia will send their ace to the circle in this game, and her name is Veronika Pekova. And here is the Philippines lineup. They sported a record of 2-3 during the course of the round robin. They won their first 2 games and then lost their last 3. And as far as the defensive lineup, and it has been very interesting throughout the week to see how frequently that lineup has changed. And it will not be Chalupkova. It will indeed be Pekova, who will be the starting pitcher, always in the lineup. Michael Young is the home plate umpire. Wojtek Mikovsky from Czechia at first, Susan Strafford and Laura McMillan of Canada at second base and third base, respectively. Czechia played in the last game here in the round robin. They fell 7-0 to heavily favored Triple Crown Colorado, who, like Team Canada, posted a perfect 5-0 record. Canada and Australia tonight at 6 in what should be potentially the game of the day, and then it's Mexico and Triple Crown Colorado. The upstart Saskatchewan 222s, who have already written quite a storybook this week, will face Israel next in the other playoff encounter, and Veronika Pekova misses down for ball 1. She is a 27-year-old from Ledenici in Czechia. So far in the Canada Cup, her record is 2-1. She's pitched 15 innings, given up 3 runs on 6 hits, struck out 27 batters. And she has registered more than 70 miles an hour on the speed gun so far this week. Now, our speed radar is in a bit of a different location than it was earlier in the tournament when a foul ball shattered it. And Pekova, 2 balls and a strike to Philippines shortstop and leadoff hitter Angelou Gabriel. Gabriel and the next batter, Mary Joy Magwad, certainly a good 1-2 punch. And the drop ball is excellent. In on the hands. And that's what's allowed to have Pekova, along with the velocity, such good success. But now it's the playoffs. And I must admit, even though these teams are in a single game elimination, unlike Canada, Australia, Triple Crown Colorado, and Mexico, when you finish in the top 2 positions in each pool, you have 2 playoff lives. But it is win or go home for these 2, and Pekova wastes little time recording another strikeout as she faces second baseman Mary Joy Magwad, the 24-year-old who's been excellent in this tournament. She's 5 for 15, a slick fielding second baseman with a triple and a run batted in. She had a hit in 4 of the 5 games that the Philippines have participated in. And dealing with Pekova, no easy chore in this one, as the rise ball is fouled away. The drop is the best pitch in what I have witnessed this week, but she has a quality change and a good high rise as well. And there is the rise that for a second consecutive pitch is fouled away by Mary Joy Maguad. Maguad, in a World Cup qualifying tournament last summer in Italy, was the Philippines' top hitter. No surprise. She batted 7 for 18 in that event, 389 against elite competition, Canada, Italy, and Japan, all in that tournament last summer. She played for the Philippines in this event 2 years ago. So despite her youth, she's already represented her country a lot in key events, even going back to the 2019 qualifier, and she punches the game's first hit into left field. As Mary Joy Maguad continues to impress here at Softball City. And in the designated player spot, and she's also a pitcher, she is from the state of Washington. Kaylani Randall, 0 for 3 so far in the tournament. She's finished her first year at school at Texas Southern University. So Pekova gives up a 1-out hit to Mary Joy Maguad, who certainly is more than capable of stealing a base. She has great quickness. Pekova comes inside and gets ahead of Kaylani Randall. No balls and 2 strikes. And Randall with a quality cut that time to keep herself alive. She is from Sammamish, Washington. And I'm hoping to be close on the pronunciation. Had a great high school career at Skyline High School as Pekova misses up and away with a rise ball. Top of the first inning in our first of 4 playoff encounters here this afternoon at Softball City. And time is called and asked for by the home plate umpire. And the drop, the throw back, not in time. And Magdalena Kavanova thought that maybe it was a double play. And the ball appeared to be there in time. The snap throw from Jakova Kolachi, the catcher. But Maguad was able to get to the outside portion of the bag to slide back safely, and swing and a miss by Charlotte Salas. So a couple of quick strikeouts for Pekova. And my guess is that total will climb as long as she stays in the game. And that hurt Charlotte Salas as it gets away from Pekova. On the lineup card, it looked like 18-year-old youngster Amalie Chulupkova, who performed quite admirably in the game. She was the starter in last night's 7-0 loss at the hands of Triple Crown Colorado. And I think we will see her in this game. As Czechia certainly a favorite in this one. As Pekova comes upstairs but misses. So runners now after the hit batter at first and second with a pair out. As the Philippines, if nothing else, making the Czechia ace pitcher work extra hard to begin the game. As she looks to find her groove, does Pekova. Facing left fielder Elsie De La Torre. She's a fine left fielder. And another ball that gets away. So Pekova struggling to find her rhythm. Hit by pitch, and now a walk. And the bases are loaded for the Philippines. And right fielder Rhea May Villamine, the 22-year-old who's gone 5 for 16 with 2 home runs and 6 runs batted in. She will never forget her game this week, the win over New Zealand. A 5-1 triumph where she homered twice and cashed in all 5 of the Philippine runs. And Pekova, again, misses up and outside of the zone. And if you are the team looking for an upset, you'd love nothing better than to plant a bit of a seed of doubt early in this one. So can Pekova get out of this bases-loaded jam, and that will help. And 69 from our speed radar. And in the position that it's in, not quite as effective as it could be. So I'm going to probably add a couple of miles an hour up from where our radar machine is located. So when you see 69, it's probably closer to 71. Change up and a beauty. As Pekova trying to dial herself in and get Czechia, a team that finished 3-2 in a very difficult pool. One pool was certainly stronger than the other in the round robin this week. And Veronica delivers. It wasn't easy. She gave up 1 hit. Ended up walking the bases full, but still ends up with 3 more strikeouts as Czechia comes to bat in this first of 4 playoff games on Friday. There's a great shot at Softball City.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport. Visit CanadaCup.com to learn more and support our mission. Welcome.
early in the day, and those seats will start to fill up. We have had big crowds, especially when Canada has played, which they will do once again in the 6 o'clock time slot. Magdalena Kavanova to lead it off in her familiar spot. A few changes from the Czechia head coach as Veronika Pekova crawled her way out of a jam. And the starting pitcher for the Philippines is Royavel Palma. She's 1-1 so far. And Philippines' top pitcher. I don't think there's any question about that. The 23-year-old is 1-1 and 13 1/3, given up 5 runs on 13 hits, struck out 14, and walked 3. The rise ball fouled away by Kavanova. My first viewing this week of Royavel Palma. She has not been involved in the circle in the games here primarily. When she has pitched, it has been on Diamond 2. Kavanova 3 for 12 in the Canada Cup and pulls it foul past Charlotte Salas at first. And Kavanova, all 3 of her hits came in the same game. And her lone RBI. It was in a 5-3 hard-fought win against the Saskatchewan 222s, who came within 3 outs of pulling a major upset, leading the Australian national team yesterday in their final game of the round robin 2-1 as Kavanova high in the air. Della Torre circles, lost her glasses, but still able to make the catch. As Palma gets Kavanova to pop out. And now a chat between a couple of Czechia batters about Royavel Palma. Here's third baseman Veronika Klimplova. Up the middle. Gabrielle does well. The shortstop and the second base players of this Philippines team really are the driving forces for Team Philippines. And Angelou Gabriel takes a hit away from Klimplova, and there are 2 away. And here is shortstop Emma Vodichkova, who's hit some balls hard and has been pretty unlucky this week. She's still looking for her first hit. She's 0 for 10. Was 6 for 21 2 years ago in the European Championship. And has made some excellent plays at shortstop. She's also performed in left field. A versatile player is Emma Vodichkova. And inside from Royavel Palma. And you notice the difference as far as the velocity is concerned. But with Veronika Pekova, she and Carlin Pickens of Triple Crown, Colorado, arguably the 2 hardest throwers. Vodichkova coming in and making the play is Rayamai Villamine. And poor Emma Vodichkova wondering, when am I ever going to get a hit this week? Great start for the Philippines. No score after 1. Great shot from the drone. Philippines and Czechia in a single elimination playoff game on this Friday afternoon. Nice seat for the game. An old lawn chair, has the phone going, the shades on. Life is good. And hats, sunscreen required here today. It's supposed to, by mid-afternoon, be in the 26 or 27 Celsius neighborhood. So the days have continually gotten warmer, and that trend is supposed to continue here right through Championship Sunday. Well, Philippines loaded the bases, thanks in part to some control struggles for Veronica Pekova, but she still ended up with 3 strikeouts, including a very important one to end the inning, and has strike number 1, dealing with center fielder Eliza Talisic, who made a sensational catch earlier this week in center field to take away a home run. She's 2 for 11 at home plate in the batting department. Hits against Mexico and New Zealand. And she batted .538 in that very difficult World Cup qualifier in Italy last summer. Took something off, gets away from the catcher, and it's not in time. And in a game, a crucial game in the round robin between Czechia and Australia, where Pekova and Kendra Lamb were involved in a terrific pitcher's duel, Klara Jekova-Kulachi, the young catcher, had trouble dealing with what Pekova brought to the plate at times. And that's another situation where, in the books, it would go as a strikeout. Unfortunately, a strikeout in a pass ball has the runner in Talisic over at first. Is Neomai Mahinai, the third base player for the Philippines. Finds herself down 2 strikes, looking to advance the runner. As Pekova's rise is fouled away. And part of a lot of these countries growing and getting better is just allowing young players to gain more experience. And Czechia, in both the women's and men's game, a country really in the world on the rise. And Pekova gives you a chance every game. Officially, by my count, strikeout number 5 already of the game. We will double check that in between innings, as here is catcher Ella Audrey Baul. The number 9 hitter is catcher Jekova-Kulachi. Frames it on the inside corner. They'll check it first, and the answer is no. Pekova up to 32 strikeouts in the tournament. She had 13 of those in Game 1, a victory, a complete game triumph over Chinese Taipei. A ball and a strike to Baul. And this one fouled back to the screen. Pekova walked and hit a batter, as well as yielding a hit to second baseman Mary Joy McGuad in the top of the first. Good swing that time by Baul to send it back to the screen. Baul in the tournament, 1 for 6. She hails from Pico Rivera, California. And Pekova paints the corner like a Picasso that time. Maybe a little framework from behind the plate, but excellent pitch, and has another strikeout. And if she gets in a groove, it's going to be very difficult for this Philippines team, who, when there's true best on best scenarios and everybody is available, the Philippines in Asia almost always now number 4 behind, obviously, Olympic reigning gold medalist Japan, China, Chinese Taipei, and then the Philippines. Chinese Taipei did not advance to the playoffs here this year. They brought a very young team. They left their number 1 pitcher, who was so good here 2 years ago at the Canada Cup. In fact, she had a performance that knocked Canada out of the playoff round on Saturday afternoon, as Canada went 2 straight in the playoffs in 2022. Canada looking to improve on that finish and last year's 4th place finish. And we'll have their first true test of the Canada Cup tonight against rival Australia, a team like Canada who will leave and play in the upcoming Women's World Cup starting July 15th in Italy. Another strikeout on a quality drop ball that had a change of pace to it. So Veronica Pekova, a lot of strikeouts, a little trouble, but still no runs. Is Czechia coming to bat in this playoff game in the bottom of the 2nd. A defensive change on this sunny Friday, where a good beverage goes down even a little bit better, is Mia Tubong-Banwa comes in the game to play right field in place of Reyame Villamine. Czechia went down 1-2-3 in order versus Royal Palma in the bottom of the 1st. And here's their leading hitter so far in the tournament, left fielder Alishka Steshkalova. And that one ties up Niome Mahinai and Czechia with their first runner of the game. And it's one that Mahinai would love to have back as Steshkalova reaches on the air. And when you are the team looking to go in search of an upset, every one of those little mistakes makes things more and more difficult. There's Gabriela Slaba to bunt, lays it down well. Palma to first for the out, and Magua a quick throw. But Stejkalova barely took even a half step off the bag. So a well-executed sacrifice bunt. And Czechia has their first runner in scoring position in the game for right fielder Jana Furkova. Furkova, the 26-year-old from Prague, 3 for 10 so far in the Canada Cup, as Palma delivers a first pitch drop ball for a strike. Furkova, when she delivers a hit, it also cashes in a run. She has 3 runs batted in. Opportunistic is number 18, and she's, interestingly enough, in a position to do the same thing and continue the trend. She will turn 27 on August the 13th and has been a staple. She played in 2 previous Canada Cups in 2022 and 2018. Gets around on that early and fouls it to the screen of her own dugout. Jana was 3 for 19 at the 2022 European Championship. Even more impressively, 8 for 19 going back to the year 2021. Czechia was not involved in one of the 3 World Cup qualifiers last year. I don't really see them not being. Furkova, Talisic with the grab. As Furkova very close to giving Czechia the lead. And Talisic, who made an outstanding catch right over the fence a couple of days ago. This one just goes back to it. And the runner, Stejkalova, able to move up 60 feet to third base on the long flyout by Jana Furkova. And here's pitcher Veronika Pekova. And she swings it well, too. And like a number of other hitters in the tournament, you'd swear she's about to come right out of her shoes on every swing. Alicia Campbell of Mexico, very similar to that. Jess Oakland, who has a tournament-leading 5 home runs, certainly swings in a similar fashion as Palma finds the outside corner herself. Philippines looking to pull the upset. They've had a good tournament. Great experience. And hope they've really enjoyed themselves in this marvelous community and facility. Few better on planet Earth than here in Surrey, British Columbia at Softball City. And you don't need too many looks around to understand how pretty the setting is. Pekova punches it and has a base hit and an RBI on her way to second. She will be thrown out. And a play that makes the Czech coaching staff happy, but on the other hand, when that's your number 1 pitcher, scares you to death. As she tried to stretch this out, the diving try by Tubong Banwa couldn't get there. So Pekova helps her own cause with an RBI single, and the Czechs strike first in our first of 4 playoff games on this Friday in Surrey. You do not see this very often. Veronika Pekova has driven in the games, only run the pitcher. But here's the oddity. Czechia has recorded 6 outs. Veronika Pekova officially has 7 strikeouts because one of her strikeouts eluded the catcher for a pass ball and the runner made her way safely to first base. So not very often you have more strikeouts than your team has outs. But that's the case as we begin the top of the third with Czechia leading. And the one woman who has delivered a hit off Pekova is at home plate. Second baseman Mary Joy McGuad, and missing on the drop ball. Whether it's on that part of the plate, outside or in on your hands, it probably closer to 71 miles an hour. That's tough. McGuad stays with it on the change, but grounds right to first baseman Magdalena Kavanova for out number 1. And Kalani Randall, who obviously, outside of McGuad, if you made an out, you struck out, with the exception of what just happened for McGuad. And Kalani Randall, the youngster, had a mighty cut, but a miss. She only batted 4 times at Texas Southern during the college season. And that one, even on our radar gun, hit 70. She is throwing hard. That one gets away. And she has a big grin on her face to say, well, that one's all on me. The tall right-hander. Ball and 2 strikes to Kalani Randall. Two and 2. And a miss by very little. As Pekova shakes out that right arm. And she is so tall. She's about 34 feet away by the time she releases it. The actual rubber is 43 feet away. So your ability to react at 70 and 71 miles an hour from 35 or 34 feet, you don't have much time. Slaba to first for out number 2. So good contact by Kalani Randall, and that's a step for the Philippines, who either reached on a hit by pitch, a walk, or there have been strikeouts. Charlotte Salas was hit by a Pekova pitch in the top of the first. In fact, Philippines loaded the bases, but couldn't cash. Steshkalova, no trouble at all, as Veronika Pekova does it a different way, using her defense. A 1-2-3 Philippines inning as Czechia looks to improve upon their 1-0 advantage on this Friday, the start of the playoffs at Softball City.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport.
Czechia. They're one hit from their star pitcher, Veronika Pekova, that has scored the game's only run. This is a single elimination playoff game. If you finished in the number 3 or number 4 position after the 5-game round robin in your pool, that's the situation you're in. And that's where these two teams are, playing in the first game of many in this playoff round. Chikova Kolachi and Niome Mahinai, who struggled with a ground ball in the last inning, and it played a role in Czechia's run, handles that pop-up with ease. Off the bat of Klara Chikova Kolachi. Center fielder Aneta Molentova. And Philippines' number 1 pitcher, certainly nowhere near the type of velocity that Pekova throws with. However, only one other pitcher in the event really does. But she has thrown a very good couple of innings against this Czechia team that went 3-2 during the course of the round robin, losing to Triple Crown Colorado and to Australia. So they're in 3rd place in their pool, entering the playoffs by winning the games that they were expected to win. And the game against Australia was really a finite game where just some small errors execution-wise made the difference. Molentova and Royavel Palma helps herself out. She handles the short hop and then shovels over to first for out number 2. First baseman, Magdalena Kavanova. She's also played in a couple of games over at second this week and has hits off of only one team. All 3 this week against the Saskatchewan 222s. Batted an impressive .520. 13 hits at the 2022 European Championship and misses on a quality changeup from Royavel Palma. Both teams with 1 hit. The Philippines with a costly error. Upstairs this time to Kavanova, but missed. Ella Audrey Baul behind home plate. Base hit. Well, there indeed is her first this week off of someone other than a member of the Saskatchewan 222s, and that will delight Magdalena and her Czechia mates and coaches. Czechia certainly favored coming into this game. One of the better teams in Europe and getting better all the time. Kavanova on the run. The throw is a stray, but Kavanova will hang tight. And her head coach just hand signaled, and I can't understand the Czechia language, but I could sense some frustration that Kavanova wasn't quite ready to make her way to third on the throw. So stolen base and a chance for Klimplova to drive in a run. It says 1 out on the score board. I have 2 out. But maybe I'm writing too quickly. Klimplova, there is 2 out. And now there are 3. Is Eliza Talisik puts that in her back pocket. So a small threat from Czechia and a good one brewing in this single elimination playoff game at Softball City.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport. Visit CanadaCup.com.
So Veronika Pekova did not strike out a batter in the top of the third. She has 7 already in the game, blowing into the right hand. Wouldn't think it needs much warming on this Friday afternoon as she faces left fielder Elsie De La Torre, who she walked in the first when Philippines loaded the bases. Vodichkova, strong throw. And those are the type of plays she has made all week. Even though in a pretty important showdown last night with Triple Crown Colorado, which Czechia almost played like they were resigned to lose the game, despite having an opportunity to potentially end up in a 3-way tie with Triple Crown Colorado and Australia at 4-1. Maybe there was really not much of a way for them in a tiebreaker with the math. But Vodichkova played left field, not shortstop. And she's a fine shortstop. Mia Tubong-Bonwa came into the game in right field in the last inning and was very involved defensively. Now she's batting for Rhea-May Villamine. Pekova not only throws with excellent velocity, does an excellent job of changing speeds as well, which really, if you're a batter and feel like every single pitch you face is just a little different and has different movement like that had great tailing action away, you become so hard to hit. Look at the movement, not only up but out, as Tubong-Bonwa goes down as the 8th strikeout for Pekova. Center fielder, and a good center fielder, in Eliza Talisik. A ball and no strikes to the center fielder. Around the diamond, from third to first, for Czechia, Klimplova, shortstop Vodichkova, Gabriela Slaba, and Magdalena Kavanova, with catcher Chekova Kulachi behind the plate, and the drop ball fouled off the catcher, and that stung. coming in hot and going down hot as well. Talisic, 2 for 12 now after striking out her first time up. She had a quality 2023. Hit .538 in the World Cup qualifier, .471 in the Asian Games, and 7 for 16 in the Asia Cup. So a very strong 2023 for this player. And no opportunity to hit that as Pekova checking the plant of her foot and her release point. She's 27 years of age. 2 outs, 2 balls, and 2 strikes to Elisa Talisic. Klimplova, inning over. Veronika Pekova getting the job done as Czechia looking to keep their hopes alive in this single elimination game for a Canada Cup crown.
The latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. Softball Premier TV.
Shortstop Emma Vodichkova leading things off. She flew out to then right fielder Rhea May Villamine, her first time up, to end the bottom of the first. Czechia has 2 hits and 1 run. Pekova has limited the Philippines to just 1 and struck out 8, as she's in a pitcher's duel with Royavel Palma, who's the number 1 starter for the Philippines and showing it through the first 3 innings of this playoff encounter. Change up, whacked, and there is Emma Vodichkova's first hit of the Canada Cup. And this would be the perfect time to get on a roll. Left fielder, Alishka Steshkalova, and she has certainly more than 1 hit. Asked a bunt, big lead off of first, but Baul, behind home plate, elects to hang on to it and not try to make the play. Steshkalova, 6 for 14 now with a double, a home run, and 4 runs batted in. And again, the bunt attempt not executed. It can very much be a lost art in this day and age. I find that to be more the case on the men's side at a high level than the women's. But the game's changed a lot. It really has. Analytics very involved. Certain countries in this sport, particularly on the women's side, in fact, the Asian countries still will play the small ball game probably a little bit more. Stashkolova, high fly. Della Torre shows off a good throwing arm to get it back in. Haven't seen a lot of that from her, or certainly maybe noticed quite the throwing arm from her, might be a better way to phrase it. So the missed bunt attempt, and Vodichkova remains at first base for Gabriela Slaba, who did lay down a sacrifice bunt her first time up. Royavel Palma, the low rise ball, finds the outside corner. Gabriela, 3 for 10 in the Canada Cup with 4 runs batted in of her own. Base hit. Vodichkova on her way to third. The throw not in time, and heads up running by Slaba to take advantage and slide safely herself into second. And now Czechia really has something brewing in the bottom of the fourth. So heads up running and hit number 4 of the Canada Cup for Gabriela Slaba, the 24-year-old from Praha, better known to us in North America as Prague. One of the great cities in the world. Still high on my bucket list. Have yet to make my way to that wonderful city and country. But hopefully at some point I will, and maybe for a softball event. Yana Furkova, 2 runs staring her right in the face in this 1-0 game. Knocked down by Gabrielle, makes the throw back. And Czechia adds to their advantage. And a nice reaction over at first from Yana Furkova. Angelou Gabrielle did as well as she could with it. And I believe Furkova will be credited with a hit and a run batted in. So the Czechs able to add to their lead. And now it's pitcher Veronika Pekova who drove in the first run of the game. So Czechia putting some hits together in this bottom of the fourth, and now Glory Alonso is throwing in the Philippine bullpen. A single elimination game. You lose, and your tournament comes to a conclusion today. Pekova, diving stab by Gabrielle to save a run, and she hurt herself. A marvelous diving play by Angelou Gabrielle. And she came down awkwardly. It's even better than I thought upon second glance because of the late hop, and still managed to get it and got twisted around. I think she's going to be okay. Certainly I hope she is. But that is some play at shortstop, and it saves a run for the moment. Did she twist her shoulder? She did absolutely come down awkwardly, and looks like she's trying to stretch out and now pound out the left shoulder. But a wonderful play as the pitcher, Pekova, has her second straight hit of the afternoon. So not only can she throw 70 plus, she can contribute offensively, and that's exactly what she has done. In fact, she's now 5 for 10 with a double and a run batted in at home plate, Veronika Pekova. And the bases are loaded as Czechia a chance to blow this game open. They were a big favorite coming in. Now lead 2-0. Still only one out in the bottom of the fourth for Chikova Kolachi, the catcher. Clara, the 22-year-old, 2 for 9 in this Canada Cup tournament. She played in all the senior team tournaments and friendlies last year. There were no major championships that Czechia participated in on the WBSC calendar. There was no European championship. They will participate in one late in the summer this time. And they'll certainly be a team to look out for, along with the likes of Italy and the Netherlands, who are about to participate in the upcoming World Cup, along with Great Britain. 2 balls and a strike to Chikova Kolachi. And she would love nothing more with a base hit to give her team a far more comfortable advantage. Elsie Delatorre, the catch. Deep enough to score run number 3. A good at-bat. And a run batted in. The sacrifice fly cashes in Gabriela Slaba from third. And it's 3-0. So Aneta Molentova grounded out to Mary Joy Magwad in inning number 3. So Czechia has scored twice. And the way Veronika Pekova is pitching, that becomes a very difficult chore for Philippines. And I would wonder, and have the ability to do it out loud, if Czechia was to score even one more run with Pekova's importance on this playoff trail this weekend, if we might see a different pitcher moving forward. But Czechia will only play the one game today. They'll have to play more than that tomorrow if they're to make their way to Championship Sunday, where at that point in time, 3 teams will be left in the title hunt for the 2024 Canada Cup. And Molentova takes a strike on the outside corner to even the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Runners still at second and third. Molentova squares to get herself set. And there's a big strikeout. Czechia gets on the hit parade and leads now after 4 by 3. Veronika Pekova has 2 hits. She has 8 strikeouts. And Czechia with a 3-0 lead as she is set to work the 5th inning. And as I suspected, there is some activity brewing in 24-year-old Adela Linklova starting to warm up. So Pekova starts the inning. I wonder if this could be her last. As she deals with third baseman Niome Mahinai. Mahinai struck out her first time up in the game and misses on the high rise from Pekova, who at one point in the contest had 7 strikeouts and Czechia only had registered 6 outs. That doesn't happen in every game. That is for certain. They check, and this time they say that Mahinai did go around for strike number 3, and the strikeout total is up to 9. She would need 3 more or 4 more to tie the tournament high in a game, which is 13. And her own, in fact, against Chinese Taipei in Czechia's opening game win. And a change upcoming as Victoria Magbunwa will bat for Ella Baul. Magbunwa also a catcher. She is only had 1 official at-bat to her credit. She's 0 for 1 in the tournament. Played for the Philippines going back to the 2017, what was then the World Junior Women's Softball Championship. Now it's a U18 World Cup. Knocked down by Kavanova. Slaba unable to hang on as Kavanova scurried to pick up the loose ball and deliver it. Might have been an out had it been caught. Very close as Victoria Magbunwa doesn't run through the bag, which I still think for the most part is your best option. She dove. And an error, I believe, is called on the play. Not sure if the error is going to go to Slaba at second or Kavanova, the first baseman. So a runner with 1 out. And the top of the order in Angelou Gabriel, exactly where Philippines wants to be. They're trying to put a rally of their own together and get back in this game. The winner moves on. It's the end of the line for the loser. Another 3-4 playoff game coming up next, slated for 3:30 between that surprising Saskatchewan 222s and Israel. Double play attempt. Not in time. Despite an excellent turn, fine footwork, and a good throwing arm at shortstop by Emma Vodichkova. Slaba with a good shovel. That's exactly how you teach it. The drag on the back corner, threw a seed across the diamond, able to get the force, but not speedy Gabrielle, who reaches on a fielder's choice, and there's 2 down for Mary Joy McQuad. McQuad has the only hit, and Kalachi has the rise ball get past her, so now McQuad has an opportunity with a runner in scoring position. Philippines not in a situation to let many opportunities go, and if you rewind the clock in this game, they did load the bases with 2 out in the first, but unable to cash in. And again, the drop ball eludes the catcher. And as Czechia is to continue on and make a real run in these playoffs, those are the kind of things that could very well hurt them. Magwad sets herself by squaring and then pulls the bat back and takes the pitch. So Gabrielle on another pass ball, able to move up to third. 2 balls and a strike. Philippines desperately would love a hit here to start clawing their way back. Change up. And it's 3-1, and now Clara Chekova-Kolachi, the catcher, wants to have a chat with her pitcher. Wipes off a little sweat. And with a base open, now you don't want to give anybody a free pass when you're up by 3. However, if there's one player in this Philippines lineup that could hurt you, it's Mary Joy Magwad. Another changeup and another ball. So Pekova will now take her chances with runners at first and third. And the young pitcher designated player in Kalani Randall from Samamish, Washington. And here might be the Philippines' opportunity if they are to make some hay in this elimination playoff game. And Pekova struggling a little bit right now again to get in a rhythm. And I think part of it can just be, you know, you have a couple of balls that get away from the catcher. It probably affects your confidence a little bit. But that's all part of the process. Well, that won't hurt your confidence. Drop ball. I think that's her best pitch. Certainly thrown with the most velocity. It has good down movement on it. And it's miserable for most hitters here. Even the best of the best, that's a miserable pitch. This Pekova, who seems to find it when she really needs it. She did in the first with the bases loaded and 2 out. Now first and third with 2 out and has a couple of strikes on Kalani Randall. Does it again. Just overpowered her with her 10th strikeout of the afternoon, and out of another jam for Czechia as they'll take a 3-0 lead in this playoff game at Softball City. Royaville Palma gives way to Gloria Alonso. Palma, the Philippines pitcher, 4 innings, gives up 3 runs on 6 hits. Only 2 of those runs were earned. struck out one and did not walk anyone. So Gloria Alonso makes her way back into action. She's pitched a couple of innings. They came against Canada, and Canada with a very powerful hitting lineup certainly made things a little bit miserable. But Alonso has had some good moments. The 23-year-old who plays in a 6-team university league called the UAAP 86 League in Philippines. She plays for National University. And she has become a fixture in the Philippines pitching staff at major events like this one, a World Cup qualifier, also played in last year's Asian Games and Asia Cup. Czechia with a run in the second, 2 more in the fourth. And send to the plate their leadoff batter, Magdalena Kavanova, who singled her last time up. She's 1 for 2 in the game. And Alonso does find the strike zone. She's thrown actually a total of 6 innings so far in the competition, given up 8 runs, 13 hits. 4 1/3 against Mexico and another 2 innings versus Canada. So she's pitched against the creme de la creme in her own pool, a pool that featured Canada, Mexico, New Zealand, Philippines, Hong Kong, China, and obviously themselves. That was the 6 teams, and not as strong as the other pool with the likes of Czechia, Triple Crown, Colorado, and the Australian national team, as Kavanova sends it back foul to the screen. And take nothing away from the 4th place finisher in that group either. The Saskatchewan 222s, who really were a late add. It's a World Cup year, so for organizers, a little more difficult than maybe in some other years at the Canada Cup to round out the 12 international teams. But Dean Holine, Donnie Atkinson, Keith McIntosh, and that program put an excellent team together, and they'll give Israel, I guarantee you, all they can handle in a 3-4 playoff game. Ask Australia what it was like to deal with them yesterday. As Kavanova lines out to Delatorre and left for out number 1. Veronika Klimplova, 0 for 2 today. She's grounded out to second and flown out to Eliza Talisic in center and avoids being hit with that inside rise ball from Gloria Alonso. Canada and Australia in really the feature game. 2 teams preparing for the upcoming World Cup, the Women's World Championship, starting July 15th. And then in the nightcap, Mexico and 5-0 Triple Crown Colorado, who have outscored their opponents 37-1. Canada, but again, not as stiff a competition, outscoring their opponents 47-4. The collective batting average for the 4 opponents, or 5 opponents for Triple Crown Colorado is 104. They have a fabulous team, great pitching staff, and after making their way to the final the last 2 years here, losing to, well, just the best 2 teams in the world, the U.S. national team in 2022 and Japan last year, Triple Crown Colorado wants to win it all and certainly have the team to do it. Canada and Australia, very much I expect to be in the mix. And we'll see if someone else can spoil that party. Ball and 2 strikes to Veronika Klimplova. Changeup is down and misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Czechia third baseman. they'd probably like one more run. 3's likely enough as long as Pekova remains in the circle. Maybe far more than enough. But in a playoff game with your tournament hopes on the line, it guarantee never feels like enough, as Gloria Alonso has her first strikeout of the game since replacing the starter, Royavelle Palma. It's her fourth strikeout of the tournament. And shortstop Emma Vodichkova, who broke out of an 0 for 10 slump and scored a run back to home plate. And just have an inkling that that hit might be the start of a bit of a run for the shortstop who bats in the all-important number 3 hole in the Czechia lineup. She's a fine player. Ball and no strikes to Emma Vodichkova. And now there are 2 balls. And the hesitation from catcher Victoria Magbanwa tells you that she thought the count should be even. Had a notion, but with a 2-0 decides to take for a strike. Emma played in the 2022 European Championship and the 21 European Championship. She participated here. My first look at her back in the 2022 Canada Cup. Played in the 2019 U19 World Cup in California. And she's still only 23. Lots of great years ahead of this young woman, who had a big swing at the Alonso pitch for strike 2. Fine fielding shortstop. Moves well, rangy, has an excellent throwing arm. And so many of these hitters, they like to, for a timing mechanism, start the way she is here. Pull it back, foul it off. So Vodichkova did not participate, like her teammates, in a World Cup qualifier. They'd love to find a way to be in the next World Cup, maybe even the 2028 Olympics. That is really the goal of so many young national team players right now, or even veteran players. Would love to play in the 2028 games. There will be another World Cup, and there will be a World Games, a 6-team tournament next year in China, which will be a great event for the top 6 qualifying teams in the world in China. The same amount of teams that competed in the last Olympic tournament. Vodichkova, Tubongbongwa, looked like she fought the sun a little bit at the end, but did make the play. And it remains 3-0 Czechia after 5.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport. Visit Canada Cup.
Veronika Pekova stays in the game. She struck out 10, given up just one hit, walked 2. She's thrown 76 pitches, 51 of those pitches for strikes. Veronika Pekova, the Czechia ace pitcher. As they move a little closer to sealing the deal in this first of 4 playoff games. There are 2 that are single elimination. The last 2, the 4 teams who finished either first or second in their pool will have 2 playoff lives as opposed to just 1. So the Philippines down potentially to their last 6 outs of the tournament, with first baseman Charlotte Salas leading things off. And here's the 1-ball pitch to her. And the miserable drop in on her hand, swung on and missed for strike 1. Salas, so far in the afternoon, was hit by a pitch, and then she flew out to left fielder Alishka Stechkalova in inning number 3. Pekova has been very good this afternoon. Not quite as sharp as she was in games against Australia and Chinese Taipei in her other 2 appearances. She was very much in command, certainly in the Chinese Taipei game, as Salas swings and misses at a drop that's as Pekova, for the second time in the tournament, has more than 10 strikeouts in a game. She's up to 11 in this encounter. Elsie De La Torre, the left fielder, walked and grounded out to short, and had a good rip at that first rise ball from Pekova. There has been some activity for Czechia, but at this point you wonder if Pekova is going all 7 and then getting herself ready, I would think, to start again tomorrow if Czechia hangs on here. That's the most interesting pitch that she throws. So it's the rise ball, but it's really a rise change. As you may have watched on the radar gun, that pitch is in the low 60s as opposed to being up around 70. So she's very good at changing not only the pitch, but the speed of the pitch. It'll be interesting as this tournament moves on and if Czechia can seal the deal. But we've seen her fare already well against Australia. Slow roller, but foul. So Czechia, to me, in a very competitive small tier in this tournament, yet really have to, for the most part, give the edge to Triple Crown, Colorado, Canada, and Australia. And then Czechia's maybe the most interesting other team. Mexico as well. Mexico, I would suggest, has a better overall hitting lineup than Czechia does at this point. They're more dangerous that way. And Lindsay Lopez has been good. And tonight we'll get a better idea about Mexico because Citlali Gutierrez, who had a marvelous freshman year at the University of Texas, I'm guessing will get the ball against Triple Crown, Colorado. And since Mexico appeared at the 2021 Summer Olympic Games, they continue to add and add. Mostly U.S. players, good U.S. college players with Mexican heritage. And it's been the pitching in particular that they've really had a difficult time with. But if Gutierrez, along with the likes of Lindsay Lopez, who's had some good outings here, now you start to build something with your staff. And really for other countries too, including Canada. That's part of the process even for Canada right now. When it comes to not this event necessarily, but like the upcoming World Cup. As Pekova's strikeout totals continue to rise. That's number 12 and her third consecutive in the game as she deals with right fielder Mia Tubong-Banwa. Beautiful Friday afternoon at Softball City in Surrey, British Columbia. The changeup comes in and down for ball one. The Saskatchewan 222s and Israel, a scrappy Israel hits the ball pretty well. That'll be a very interesting game. Can't wait for that one. And then the feature game of the night, Park should be full. Canada and Australia. And Mexico, Triple Crown, Colorado will be a very interesting game as well in the nightcap. The attempted bunt, not successful for Tubong-Banwa. See if Veronica Pekova can strike out the side. The answer is yes. 11, 12, and 13 for Pekova. It's the second time she's registered 13 strikeouts in a game here at the Canada Cup. This first playoff game, much as I might have expected, and I think any pundit, Czechia the favorite. The Philippines have hung around quite nicely. Czechia with 3 runs on 6 hits. The Philippines did commit a costly error back in the second, but it's been too much Veronica Pekova, who has 13 strikeouts, and up to a tournament-leading 40 so far here at Softball City. Gloria Alonso comes in to work her third inning in relief. Done a nice job since replacing Roya Velpalma. Alishka Stishkalova. Almost looked like Gabrielle, the shortstop, didn't necessarily see it off the bat. Hesitated a little. Or maybe she just thought it was harder hit than it ended up being. But a quick out for the Philippines is the pop out to short off the bat of Stishkalova. Gabrielle Aslaba has a single And a sacrifice bunt today. Will it stay fair? No siree. Showed good hustle. Would have been a very difficult play for the Philippines if indeed it did stay fair. Yana Furkova on deck had a very important base hit in a 2-run fourth inning as the Czechs turned 1-0 into 3, and it remains that way as they're 3 outs away from advancing in this what has turned from a 12-team tournament to 8 as far as playoffs are concerned. The other 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs are still participating in a consolation event. So they get some more games. So many teams making their way a long way to participate. So taking full advantage, getting more reps in. As Gloria Alonso misses on the outside. And tries to set herself again. Signaling as far as how many outs there are in the inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes to second baseman Gabriela Slaba. And that is strike number 3. Looking. A third strikeout in the games since Alonso took over. And there's 2 away from Yana Furkova. Single and an RBI her last time up. The 26-year-old now with 4 hits and 4 runs batted in at the Canada Cup. Played here in 2022 and 2018. All the way back to 2015. And more to come. She'll play with her Czech mates in a big event, the European Championships, later this summer. They'd love to be in the World Cup, but that is an exclusive 8-team field. Italy, the Netherlands, China, Japan, Canada, Australia, the United States, and Puerto Rico will battle for the world title. July 15th in Italy. That'll be a lot of fun. The 1-1 to Yana Furkova. Up the middle, base hit, her second of the day. She kept her hands back on the changeup and punched it up the middle of the diamond for the base hit. And not only has Veronika Pekova delivered 13 strikeouts, given up no runs and only 1 hit, she also has 2 hits, including an RBI at home plate, where she now in the tournament is 5 for 10. So doing it all is number 9. Facing Gloria Alonso, and her 3rd straight hit of the afternoon. Veronika Pekova, the star of the afternoon for Czechia. There is no doubt about that. Can't really have a much better game. 3 hits and 13 strikeouts. That's a rare combination. And are we going to get a pitching change from head coach Ana Santiago? She's got her list out in front of her, and Pekova will be run for. Not a surprise with 2 out. And I would think would still re-enter to close the game out unless Czechia really puts a big inning together and scores 4 times. That seems very unlikely. 2 out, 2 on though, with Klara Chekova-Kolachi. She has driven in a run today on a sacrifice fly to left field back in the fourth inning. The Saskatchewan 222s in Israel. Israel with a 3-2 record in the round robin, in a pool with Canada, Mexico, the Philippines. Those the 4 playoff teams from that pool. And the young team with so many players that came through what's known as the Twos softball program out of Saskatoon, run by Keith McIntosh, Canada's U18 head coach on the women's side. Dean Holine, long-time outstanding national team pitcher for Canada. And those youngsters have come together, haven't really played a lot together, and have put on a great show. We'll see if they have another one in them this afternoon against Israel. It would be quite a feat for the last team added to the tournament to find themselves still playing here on Saturday. LC Della Torre calls for the ball and corrals it. So Czechia threatens, doesn't score, and probably have far more than what they need as they're 3 outs away from moving on in the 2024 Canada Cup playoffs. Changes, and Veronika Pekova's afternoon is over. Gave up 1 hit, struck out 13, delivered 3 hits, drove in a run. So she gives way to number 99, Adela Linkova. And Katerina Vachkova is her battery mate, now behind home plate. As Czechia looks to close it out. And Linkova, in her second appearance, her only other appearance in the event came in a win over the Saskatchewan 222s. In that game, 3 innings, gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, struck out 2, and walked 1. She participated in all of the national team games that Czechia played in the year 2023. No major tournaments. It's part of their staff at the 2022 Under-22 European Championships. Talisic. Milentova took a step in, and it cost her. Talisic to third. Vodichkova's throw is offline, and exactly what the Philippines were looking for. A leadoff hit, and it's an Eliza Talisic triple. His center fielder, Aneta Milentova, didn't read the ball off the bat as well as she would have liked. She took a step in and then went, uh-oh, now I've got to go back. overhead to the center field fence. So that adds a little bit of intrigue as we'll have another pinch hitter in Laika Blanco, who will come into the game, number 2. Three nothing. Just the second hit, as Malentova will not be charged, and nor should she be. And Talisic at third with a triple. And a little something to think about for the new pitcher, Linkova. As she looks to settle in and record the final 3 outs of the game. Laika Blanco is the batter. Hasn't played a ton in the tournament, but she is 0 for 6. So it's not her second or third at-bat. Plays in that 6-team university league in the Philippines at the University of Santo Tomas. Would make it a little more interesting right here with a base hit. As Linkova misses outside. Has an interesting pitching motion. Does the 24-year-old. So many players on this team right from Prague, and I'm sure maybe small towns right in that area. Not like the Argentina men's team where it seems and certainly shows up publication-wise as every high-end player in men's fast pitch from Argentina is from Paraná. That's not completely the case, but it is how it's generally listed on any publication. Laika Blanco. And a 3-ball, no-strike pitch does result in a strike. So Pekova takes a seat, and maybe a little bit of trouble brewing for Czechia. And that'll help as the count back to full. And Laika Blanco is going to have a chat with the skipper, Ana Santiago. Well, it's the most important bat of their tournament, so not always sure about how it leaves you in the batter's box. Maybe Ana Santiago just felt like she needed to take a breath. Not sure what else you can talk about other than guessing at what's coming. And what's coming is ball 4. So now things become more interesting. Runners at first and third with nobody out. In the top of the 7th, Czechia still in command. 3-0 lead. As the batter is catcher Victoria Magbanwa. Victoria came into the game in the 3rd inning, has batted once, and Adela Linkova is having trouble finding home plate. And do not be completely surprised if Pekova goes back to work, if Magbanwa was to get aboard here. And she drills it! This game is tied! A 3-run homer off the top of the fence. Pandemonium for the Philippines. With one swing, what looked completely in command has changed. Knew it had a chance by the sound of the bat. And one batter, probably too late, re-enters Veronika Pekova. My, oh my, oh my. Well, I knew a little trouble was brewing. What a time for Victoria Magbanwa from Talisay City to deliver her first hit. It's only her third official at-bat. A 3-run home run to tie the game here in the top of the 7th. And there's still no one out as Pekova re-enters. Well, we've seen a few things this week that are very memorable. Add that one to the list. And so fun when you see an underdog team had the great game yesterday afternoon here as the Saskatchewan 222s were 3 outs away from a massive upset of Australia, but the Australians under the guidance, and the more I chat with them, as I briefly did even this morning in Lang Harrow, you just understand why he is so good as a head coach. He's very calm in talking about everything. And that really even went a long way. There was no panic in Australia, even in the 7th. And they delivered 4 runs. Well, there might be a little blood pressure in the Czechia dugout that wasn't there about a minute and a half ago. As Victoria Magbanwa has hit a 3-run homer to tie the game at 3. It's why you love sports. You just never know. And here's the top of the order. And shortstop, Angelou Gabriel, who has struck out twice against Pekova, who had 13 strikeouts through 6 innings. Czechia decided to give her what she thought was going to be the rest of the afternoon off. And here now finds herself trying to reassert herself, get back into a groove. It's not an easy position to be in when you think your day is probably over. And now you're in a 3-3 tie, high stakes, and need a reset. She's throwing to a different catcher than she was prior. What a twist here at Softball City. And they're dancing and singing in the Philippines dugout. 3 balls and a strike upcoming to Angelou Gabriel. Ball 4. It's the 3rd walk of the game for Pekova, who had to re-enter after Adela Linkova gave up the 3-run home run. And here's arguably their best, most consistent hitter in Mary Joy Magwad, who I would think will be asked to bunt, which isn't easy to do off Pekova. Can't get it down in a huge jump by Gabrielle as she scampers back to first. Playoff drama. Didn't seem like we'd have any. We sure do. And nice work behind home plate to make sure that didn't get to the screen. Pekova's not an easy pitcher to catch. The velocity, the movement, She's worked primarily with Klara Chekova-Kalachi. I think this is still Katerina Vachkova behind home plate. Ball and a strike to McGuad. She did go. Ball gets away, and Gabrielle is in scoring position. What a twist here in the first of two elimination playoff games to open up the playoff round. 3-0 for Czechia, rolling along, made a pitching change, and now they are in hot water. McGuad, Slaba knocked it down. Big turn at third. And the Philippines are 60 feet away from taking the lead. And the Czech head coach, Tomáš Kusi, wants to gather his players and settle them down. They can't believe what's happened for sure. The Victoria Magbanwa 3-run homer with nobody out, and there's still no one out. With runners now at the corners in the top of the seventh. This would be a monumental upset too. And it's getting even closer to occurring. Can the Czechs regain their composure and find their way out of this mess? Well, they certainly have a pitcher who could deliver 3 straight strikeouts, and they probably need a couple. As Kailani Randall, the designated player, goes in search of the go-ahead run and takes a strike on the inside corner. There's Pekova, who left the game after 6, came back in after the 3-run homer, trying to get back into what was a great groove. She struck out 13, only surrendered 1 hit. And there's the first strikeout. And here's first baseman Charlotte Salas. Salas, hit by a pitch, flew out to left field, and struck out in her first 3 at-bats, with a chance to give the Philippines the lead, and she gets hit for a second time. Been a rough day for Charlotte Salas, and when you throw as hard as Veronica Pekova does, that takes a toll. As Ana Santiago, the head coach, comes out to see if she's okay. See if she's going to be able to stay in the game. They've got the magic spray out. And they'll spray it on the left leg where she was just hit with a pitch. This is something else. What is developed here in game 1 of 4 playoff games. 1 of 2 single elimination playoff games. The next one is as well between the Saskatchewan 222s and Israel. Elsie Delatorre, do you think about squeezing in a run here? If I was the coach, I'd certainly give it some thought. If you think that Delatorre can get down a bunt, they have more than enough speed and a suicide or safety squeeze in Angelou Gabrielle at third. Bases loaded, 1 out. The Philippines have tied the game. And Della Torre able to stay off the high rise from Pekova, who's up to 14 strikeouts in the game. And she needs one now, again in the worst way. And that's fouled off her own leg by Della Torre. Elsie walked, grounded out to short, and struck out. Czechia 9-1-2 in their batting order when we get to the bottom of the seventh. They're hoping to get there with a chance to win a game. Della Torre, Vodichkova comes home, and it's dropped. Was it dropped on the transfer? We're probably going to have a review. In fact, we almost certainly will. I don't think she was ever in control. Don't have the best vantage point from in behind. It's called an out. We're definitely going to have a review. We've added that, at least the Canada Cup has added that this year. And it's never been more important than it is right now. In a 3-3 game in the seventh, 3-0 Czechia going to inning number 7. 2 runners on, and the number 9 hitter in the order, Victoria Megbanwa, delivered a 3-run homer that bounced off the fence and out to tie it at 3. Then a couple of hits, a hit batter, and the ground ball by Elsie Della Torre. Vodichkova came home in plenty of time. And it didn't look to me at first and by and large second glance that the catch was made. You see the home plate umpire put the hand up. Now he's in a way better place than I am. So the umpiring review crew is looking at it upstairs in an area behind a screen to my left. As we'll give you a couple more looks. Our main man, Luciano Lafrano, not only trying to show you all the pictures of the game, but he's trying to help out the video review committee too. So Della Torre on the big hop. Vodichkova comes home. I don't see control. I think it's 4-3. The throw is there in plenty of time for an easy force out. Gonna slow it down a little. That ball's not caught. I don't think. Not from my vantage point. I think this gets overturned. That's certainly what I see on the monitor, and what I even thought was the case. You're about to see a very happy Philippines dugout. They have taken a 4-3 lead, and now we're going to have more activity. As the home plate umpire is going to get another visit. When we can, let's give you another look at what we see. So the Czech coaching staff, very unhappy. You can expect that. They look completely in command, leading 3-0, going to the top of the 7th. Made a pitching change, gave up a game-tying 3-run homer, and then bases were loaded. And now the home plate umpire is consulting. Remember, he is behind the catcher in that situation. Now, I don't really know. Obviously, the Czechs are in a situation where maybe they can ask for another review. Well, this is good umpiring. You get together. Everybody had a look, and in some ways better than the home plate umpire is behind the catcher. I don't see how it changes. Now, these are difficult situations for so many reasons. And part of it is you don't necessarily have the same kind of looks that you do in other situations, which is just the way things are in the scenario we're in here. And the Philippines have taken the lead. It's 4-3. There'll be an error to the catcher, and the bases remain loaded. Incredible turn of events in the first playoff game. Every little play, every decision makes such a difference. And Czechia thought they were home and cooled, and frankly, it was hard not to feel that way, leading 3-0 going to the 7th. But they made a pitching change. And now they're in a position where they just would like to have a chance to only be down a run in the bottom of the 7th. And re-entering to hit is Rhea May Villamine, who started the game in right field. And Pekova, somehow through all of this, left the game, gave way to Adela Linkova. She gives up a couple of hits, a 3-run home run to tie it. More trouble ensued. Now the Philippines have gone ahead. This is a long way from over, though. And Pekova strikes out Villamine for out number 2. It's her 15th strikeout of the game. Eliza Talisic, the center fielder. Oh, how the Philippines would like a little more. And every pitch is under scrutiny. And Pekova, who throws so hard with such good movement, can be a catcher's nightmare with the way the ball moves. Right back at Pekova, and this is going to produce run number 5. Eliza Talisic, which I would think would be scored a base hit. And now, potentially, they're going to ask about obstruction on Gabriela Slaba at second base. This tournament continues to provide some unique situations that you don't get every day. And the Czechia team in particular, when Donnie Atkinson was with me on a couple of games to do color, and I wish he was here right now, in the game against Australia the other day, with the bases loaded, the ball was hit back at Veronika Pekova with a runner at third 3 consecutive times. Now here Czechia is again with just some of the most odd situations. But part of the reason we are here, and I think they have a case. I absolutely think they have a case. That is the runner's responsibility. I believe, in all the rulings I've known over the years, you have got to allow the fielder to make that play. Now, it gets contentious because infielders will look for situations where they know they're in trouble to create the contact themselves. This inning feels like it's lasted for 3.5 days. And if you're Czechia, probably a week and a half. So they're meeting again. And even at 3-3, if the ball is caught cleanly by the catcher at home plate, Czechia had a chance for at very least, a force out to keep the game at 3-3 and maybe a double play to end the inning. But the little things for Czechia in a couple of games this week have really plagued them. It did in the game against Australia. And it's not about being critical. It's just, it is the story, but it's also how you get better. You go through these hard repetitions. As the men and women in blue talk about a possible obstruction call, and the call is just that. So the inning is over for now. It will be 4-3. And I need a break. Czechia coming to bat, now needing a run to tie the game themselves. Back after this. Well, let me try to summarize what's just happened. So we're going to the bottom of the seventh. Czechia enjoyed what looked to be a very comfortable lead going to the top of the seventh. The Philippines only had one hit all game. Czechia decided after 6 innings to change pitcher Veronika Pekova and bring in Adela Linkova. She gets in trouble, and catcher Victoria Megbanwa, in just her 3rd official at-bat of the Canada Cup, hits a 3-run home run to tie it off the top of the fence. It hit the yellow and bounced out to tie the game. Then it led to Pekova re-entering the game to pitch. It took her a while to get back into a groove, and then there were some misplays, including a dropped play by the catcher at 3rd, which we had a huge review, and another review after that on a ball that looked like it might have given the Philippines a 5-3 lead that ended up ending the inning on an obstruction call. That's the best I can do. Does Czechia have it in them to come back from all of that and win this game? We're about to find out, and they start with the number 9 hitter and center fielder Aneta Molentova. Facing Gloria Alonso. Glory came in the 3rd inning, I believe, to replace the starter Royavel Palma. And she works ahead. No balls and 2 strikes to Aneta Molentova. Molentova struck out and grounded out so far in the game. This has been something else. Molentova takes high for ball 1. Alonso came on in the 5th, so this is her 3rd inning of relief. Struck out 2, has not given up a run, yielded 2 hits. Now she tries to close it and gives up a leadoff base hit. A clutch hit by Aneta Molentova. Well, if you enjoy a little drama in sports, you've tuned into the right place on CanadaCup.com, and of course, arguably the greatest place to tune into softball on a very regular basis in the world, Softball Premier TV's YouTube channel. Exactly what Czechia was looking for. As Magdalena Kavanova comes up with the tying run and no one out at first, and fails on the bunt attempt for a strike. Execution, defensively more so than offensively, has been an area of concern for Czechia. In a loss to Australia, and what has occurred here in about the last hour, all of a sudden, in this game. They look completely home and cooled. And the pitching change, and you always, as a head coach, as a manager, you're always thinking about today, and you have to understand, and in some ways, even in a game like this, try and plan for tomorrow. But the plan didn't work. Unfortunately, Adela Linkova struggled. Kavanova, she has a base hit. You knew there was no reason to go anywhere. So the Czechs, after everything that they went through in the top of the inning, do exactly what they need to do. Back-to-back base hits and a pitching change. And now their starting pitcher, Royavel Palma, who went 4 innings, she comes back. Quite an afternoon at Softball City to begin the playoff round. So the line on Royavelle Palma when she was in 4 innings, gave up 3 runs on 6 hits, struck out 1 and did not walk anyone. I have been watching this sport at a pretty good level my entire life. I'd have to think long and hard about an inning that is played out the way this one has. And it's far from over. The batter to face Royavelle Palma, who re-enters the game, is third baseman Veronika Klimplova. Now, if you're looking to execute here properly, you'd love to push a bunt towards third base. Very difficult to make the pivot and get the runner if you can lay it there. We'll see if she's even asked to bunt. She popped it up, but it worked out perfectly. Punched it by the pitcher and the third baseman. And now Czechia has the bases loaded themselves with nobody out on a well-executed push bunt. Klimplova knew exactly what she wanted to do, and she placed it in the best possible position. And here's shortstop Emma Vodichkova with the bases loaded, no one out in a 4-3 game. Emma broke out of an 0-for-10 tournament slump with a base hit earlier. She's 1-for-3 in the game, singled and scored. Looking to tie it or end it in the bottom of the 7th. Popped up. Not likely and isn't deep enough. It's an infield fly. And there's one away. So Vodichkova can't deliver an equalizer. The next opportunity belongs to Czechia's leading hitter this week, Ališka Steškalova. She reached on an error, officially 0-for-3 in this game. Almost hit her, or at least she tried to lean in. It ended up being a strike on the inside corner. She absolutely leans in over the plate, and Royavelle Palma not concerned. She went to the proper area. Ališka Steškalova. Gabrielle in foul territory, can't catch it. And gives Steškalova another chance. Steškalova came into the game today as their number 1 hitter. She's now 6-for-16 in the tournament after going 0-for-3. She has a home run and 4 runs batted in. And here's the 2-strike pitch from Royavelle Palma. Same area. Second time that Angelou Gabrielle can't make the catch. Well, this is not how you draw it up in the handbook. How many more chances can you give her? And normally, Gabrielle is a very, very sure-handed shortstop. But the pressure, of the situation. Young people. Still 2 strikes, and now Stishkalova wants time. Bases loaded. The Philippines scored 4 in the top of the 7th. Looked like it might have been 5 before an obstruction call. Swing and a miss, strikes her out. And Czechia down to their last out after loading the bases with no one out. A pop out, 2 other near pop outs, and a strikeout. And now it's Gabriela Slaba's turn to extend the game or maybe win it. Swings and misses on the Palma high rise. Gabriela 1 for 2 in the game and has scored a run. Palma, the number 1 Philippine pitcher. Strike 2. And the chatter will tell you everything you need to know. Philippines a strike away from a mini miracle comeback. And here comes the 0-2 pitch. Slaba, not an easy play, but she makes it this time. The Philippines upset Czechia and end their Canada Cup hopes. And look at the celebration. Angelou Gabriel, who had dropped 2 pop-ups in foul territory, squeezes it when it mattered the most. And the Philippines will play another day. Sometimes you have to see it to believe it. And Czechia has to be absolutely devastated. The favorite, Veronika Pekova, their ace, gave them 6 great innings. They made a pitching change. Victoria Megbanwa, who did not have a hit. In fact, it was only her 3rd at bat of the tournament. Tied it on a 3-run home run. Pekova came back in. The Philippines scored again, and then Czechia loads the bases with nobody out and can't tie the game. I don't think anything more needs to be said, except the Philippines advance with one of their best wins in a long time internationally, one these young women will never forget. And they'll play tomorrow. Czechia's tournament is over. And we have 3 more games left to play on day 1 of the playoffs at the Canada Cup. Saskatchewan 222s in Israel on deck. So long for now from Softball City.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com. Live it!